Such a blessing to see all of you here tonight. And as I present a little homily with you today to give us something to think about, we'll just continue to watch the candle that you put there for the reason that you brought with you today. Feel free to continue to watch that flicker, that light that's there as the candles continue to go down. So it's the holiday season. And one of my favorite parts of the holiday is decorating for Christmas. And we used to decorate the day after Thanksgiving, but lately we've had some friends come stay with us, so we've been pushing it back earlier and earlier. But my favorite part about the Christmas decorating is our Christmas tree. We don't have one of those country living Christmas trees, you know, where it's like everything has its perfect spot. You go to Michael's and get all the beautiful flowers and everything is just so. We've never had one of those beautiful Christmas trees. I love them. First of all, I don't know how to decorate them that way. But secondly, since our kids were little, we've gotten them a new ornament every single year for Christmas. And so over the years, those ornaments have just grown and grown and grown, and eventually our Christmas tree is pretty full. But over the years, we've also collected some other types of ornaments, and I brought with me a few of my favorites to share with you. Because when I look at our Christmas tree, there are a lot of memories and mixtures of emotions when I take a look at the ornaments on the tree. This one here is from 1997. Pastor Joe and I had been dating for 3 months, and he made this cute little ornament out of construction paper. We made gifts for each other that year, and this was one of the things he made. He locked himself in a room, and he made this little thing. It says, "Our first Christmas, 1997, Joe and Chris." And so this is always front and center. I mean, it has a very old, rusty paper clip. So every time I see this, I think about all of the amazing times we've had since then, and also even a lot of difficult times we've had. At this time, 3 months in, we had no idea what life would bring. So when I see this ornament, it takes me back to a place before things got difficult or challenging, or even just special joys that we had. This little ornament here was given to me my first year of teaching in 2001 in Atlanta, Georgia. All I ever wanted to do was teach. And this student, Maddie, gave me this ornament, and I put it on the tree every year, and I still keep in touch with her. She's graduated from college now, and every time I see this, it takes me back to all those wonderful memories of teaching since I no longer teach in the school system. So that one is a real special memory, mixed with a little bit of sadness, too. This one here is from a couple of years ago in 2022 when my parents and my family, we went to the Disney party. Has anybody ever been to the Disney Christmas parties? Oh, they're so amazing. Yeah, they closed the park. And you have to have a special ticket. And it was such a magical experience that every time I see this ornament, I just think about all the amazing times that we had together on that trip. This is an ornament that I made when I was 8 years old. I honestly don't know how it has managed to keep up. It's a little doily that's yellowed with the little yarn. And my parents had this on their Christmas tree, our Christmas tree, when I was a kid. And then when I moved out, I brought it, and it's been on my Christmas tree. And this one just brings me great joy because I love that it's made it that long. One of the local funeral homes will do a remembrance service, and at those services they'll give you a dove that you can put on your tree in memory of someone that you have lost. And though I haven't attended one myself, Pastor Joe would go, and for several years in a row he brought one of these home. So we have 3 of them, and every year these are the last things that we put on the tree. And before we do, we just think about those family members that we represent with these doves, and then we attach them on the branches, and they just stand out on that tree all year. And every time I pass by and I see this, I'm able to think about the beautiful souls that were in my life that we have now lost. 2 more. I've got 4 up here, but we don't have time for that. This ornament is one of many that our kids made years and years ago when we would do Advent, and we had a Jessie tree. And one year we made ornaments for each day of Advent season, and they each took turns coloring, alternating. So one day it was Hayden's coloring, the next day it was Haley's coloring, and they would put it on the tree each and every year. And as they got older, that little tiny tree went to the side, and now we don't do that same tradition anymore, but I continue to put these on there. And again, it's one of those things that has a lot of mixed emotions because it brings me back to that beautiful time, but then it's also sad because those days have passed by. And this is the last ornament I'm going to show you. It is a devil dog. My father-in-law used to do a gag whenever he would go to anybody's house in the holidays. He would put a Christmas hook on this, and he would hang a devil dog on everyone's Christmas tree. And that became a thing that he did. Well, my father-in-law passed away tragically in 2013. And ever since that time, we always make sure that we go and get devil dogs. And sometimes we have to go from store to store to store until we find them. But every year we go and we get a devil dog. And we laugh about it, and it's joyful. But again, it's one of those mixed emotion things where it's fun and it's great memories, but it also makes you have to face the realization of a loss. And so when I think about my Christmas tree, I see all of these different mixed emotions. Every morning when I wake up, it's usually between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, it's dark. The Christmas tree is dark. You can see the ornaments on there. The first thing I do is I go around the back of the Christmas tree, step on that little green button, and then the lights just magically appear. And as soon as I click that button, it illuminates all of those ornaments. And each morning I just take a couple minutes and I walk around the Christmas tree, and each day different ones catch my eye. And so I'll stand there for a minute and I'll think about what that ornament means for me and just take a little time to reflect. And some days my heart is filled with joy, and some days my eyes are filled with tears. And because that Christmas tree is met with so many different emotions, it has just become a great thing for me to journey with through the season of both the mixture of the beauty of life and also the trials of life. Tonight in our service, we are already, and we have acknowledged that simultaneously we are feeling grief for those who we've loved and lost, for different losses in our lives, for difficult thoughts and emotions that we go through, for the struggles that we have in human love and relationships, while at the same time also recognizing that we still feel God's hope, peace, joy, and love throughout our lives. One of my favorite miracles in the Bible is when Jesus feeds the 5,000. I have done this that story with the kids for many times in kids' worship. And I love this story. But there's something that's so amazing about this story. We see Jesus showing compassion for the people. After he's been teaching and healing, the disciples come and say, Jesus, send them away. They need to eat. And Jesus says, no, find them some food. Well, there was no food to be found except for some loaves and fish. And Jesus asked them to bring it to him. You know the story where Jesus prays over it, and God multiplies the food, and they feed everybody that's there, over 5,000 men, women, and children, with 12 baskets left over. That's a lot of love and compassion. Jesus takes time. But if you go a little bit further up in the story, there's a little line there that says this. Now, when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself. Before Jesus fed the 5,000, he received some terrible news. He had just learned that John the Baptist had been beheaded. His friend, the one who baptized him, was now gone. That happened right before Jesus went and tried to retreat and then fed the 5,000. Jesus went in a boat to go off by himself to take some time. The people got wind of it. They met him over there on the other side. And whether Jesus was going away to grieve, or maybe he was going away to find safety, either way, we know that Jesus was taking time to grieve. And Jesus, in the midst of grief and the reality of each day that we have, we know that Christ also has experienced those same emotions. Because Jesus went away and then immediately started with compassion and healing and being with the people, I don't want us to take from this story that that means to just get on with it, to just move on. We don't know exactly how long Jesus grieved, and I would never stand here and say, just get over it. Don't you see the story of Jesus? He heard this terrible news, and then he turned right to the side and he started healing and feeding 5,000. I want us instead to pay attention to the fact that Jesus did go away, that Jesus took time to grieve, and that if we have a Christ who has felt grief in the midst of also giving compassion, then we too will find ourselves in that same place. I find it comforting, and I hope you find it comforting as well, to know that Christ has journeyed many of the same roads that we have. You know, on the very first Christmas, Jesus came into the world as a light. Jesus is the light of the world. Christ's light changed everything. From the moment Christ was born, he's illuminated all things. Just like my Christmas tree, when I come out, the ornaments are there, I know they're there, but it's the light. It's the light that comes from behind those ornaments that bring me joy. It's the light that comes from behind the ornaments that bring me a little bit of sadness, that illuminates them so I can see them clearly. That's what Christ's light does for us. It comes through behind all of the fears, all of the hurts, all of the anxieties, and all of the loss. And it shines his light on those things so we can see them in different ways as we grow and go through those times. This Christmas and each day, we are invited to come home to Christ's hope, peace, joy, and love. We don't have to get things in order first. We can come just as we are, broken, weary, anxious, angry, and in need of light in the darkness. Christ does not promise us life without difficulty. Not one of us sits here saying that it's been perfect from the start. Rather, our lives will be like that of my Christmas tree, a mix of wonderful and difficult memories and experiences, but also with the light of Christ that shines through and reminds us that we are not alone. So I want you to think about your life. Some people like to look in pictures. Pastor Joe mentioned that in his sermon the other day, of seeing things in pictures. Picture your life like a Christmas tree. Think about those things that have brought you joy or sadness, anxieties and griefs. Picture them on that tree, whether in words, whether in a little moving picture like a movie, or as a still ornament on your tree. If your life was a decorated Christmas tree, what would your ornaments look like? What would your ornaments represent? What mixture of emotions represent each of those ornaments? And how can you turn on the light of Christ when you see that picture? How can you turn on Christ's light to come in from behind all of those ornaments and sit back and look at your life as a whole from where you have been to now, and see Christ's light shining through from behind each and every one of those ornaments and what they represent for you in your life? Will you pray with me? God, we thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight, Lord. We come at different places in life. We come with different griefs, with different sorrows, with different joys, with different experiences. And God, in the story tonight, where you heard bad news and you went off to take time to grieve, but yet at the same time showed compassion for those who were in need also. God, we thank you that you know grief and you know joy. We thank you that you have journeyed through anxieties as you walked to the cross. We thank you that you have felt many of the things we have felt. I pray we find comfort in that. We thank you that your birth is what brought light into this world. We thank you for the light that you shine on us, even if sometimes we don't see it, sometimes we don't want to look. God, we thank you that your light is ever present. And I pray that as we move through this service and as we move through this Advent season and as we move through our lives, that we will find ways to see your light shining through in all those places, in all those spaces where we mix together our grief and our joys, our sorrows and our peace. We thank you that you are with us in all of them. We love you and we praise you. In your name, amen. At this time, we're just going to take a moment of silent reflection. I'm going to come down to the front, but don't feel like you need to come forward. But if you did need to come forward for prayer, please feel free to come forward. You can pray in your seat. You can pray at the stairs. You can come up near your candle, or if something else came to your mind during the service and you want to light another candle, please feel free to do that in this short moment of reflection.